Chapter 19, verses 1 through 107. 1. The laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, are given for all created creations, creatures, creations, life forms, that have arisen from the spark of inspiration, idea, of the primal power of the life, creation. Therefore, both for those untalented in cognition, rationality, and true discernment, intellect, which are all animals and other creatures of the land, the air, and the water, and also for people of your kind, human beings, who are fruitful, bearing versed in cognition, rationality, and true discernment, intellect, and who lead your existence willingly, consciously. 2. As you come into life, you are integrated into the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, which you shall follow in striving for higher things, evolution of the consciousness, and from which you shall draw valueful benefit, success, in order to achieve the best possible flawlessness, completion, relatively absolute full development, more easily and less onerously. 3. If, however, you are wayward, irrational, with regard to the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, then you are violating them, which will bring about evil, harm, defeats, and even downfalls, catastrophes, and all other kinds of calamity on you. 4. Therefore, live in wisdom and be connected to love and truth, so that you may find peace and freedom as well as consonance, harmony, both inside yourselves and outside yourselves, and you may lead an existence, life, in accordance with the primal power, creation. 5. The way to the truth and to the truthfully life lies open to everyone amongst you people of your kind, human beings, which is proven by the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, if you would only heed them. 6. Listen to the voice of the truth, as is given to you through the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, as it has been given to you since time immemorial. 7. Heed the virtues, because they are precious to you. Therefore you shall bring them forth, create them, in yourselves when you contemplate the teaching of the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation. 8. Listen in yourselves so that you may hear the voice, swinging waves, of the truth in the stillness, and give ear to it, so that you do not commit an omission and suffer harm thereby. 9. The laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, are given to all its created creations, creatures, creations, life forms, so that they may follow them and lead a life in dignity. However, following the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, shall be a free and willful, conscious act, so that no actions are committed in gavolt, terror, or through coercion, because it is only the free will of the learning that will lead to success. Where there is gavolt, terror, and coercion, then only gavolt, terror, and coercion are followed, whereas truthfully learning goes unheeded. Therefore, no true success is one achieved in cognition, rationality, and true discernment, intellect, but only the path of ruin is taken. 10. Gavolt, terror, and coercion violate the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, of peacefulness and mildness as well as of uncoercedness, and all dignity of people of your kind, human beings, is harmed. 11. Wherever gavolt, terror, and coercion rule, freedom cannot be spoken of, because volition, love, and knowledge are missing. Consequently, a blame is created which is the same as equivalent to an imposed, coerced submissiveness, bondage. 12. Truly, many amongst you show contempt for the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, as they are given and are also recognizable, visible, for you in great measure in the free appearance, free nature. If you would only see and comprehend, recognize them, and therefore understand them. 13. However, there are many amongst you who, in ungratefulness, show contempt for the appearance, nature, and go forth heedlessly and lovelessly in it, and destroy it, leading to the greatest evil for all people of your kind, human beings. 14. Many of you are connected to ungratefulness, and you do not show any gratitude, gratefulness, to true love either, also not to peace, freedom, and consonance, harmony, which should also grow both in you and outside you amongst all people of your kind, human beings, on your world. 15. In return for you being presented, given, true love through the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, you treat them with hostility and pay back everything with evil, with hatred and jealousy, with lovelessness, unfreedom, bondage, and unpeace, as well as with disgracefulness, badness, with battles, wars, bloody deeds, murder, and defilement crimes. 16. The greatest terrible things come over you through your unfairness, irresponsibility, and unrighteousness, consciencelessness. So you will be befallen by affliction, unfortunate oppressive worries, etc. And hardship, misery, and tribulation loom over threaten you and even cast you into ruin. 17. Truly, threat of hardship and misery, as well as of tribulation, fear and fright comes over each and every person of your kind, human being. If you commit evil and unfair acts, irresponsible acts, and unrighteous acts, conscienceless acts, because the law of cause and of decision, effect equals cause and effect, always catches up with you. 18. Be admonished to achieve insight, rationality, so that you may always recognize how bitter and baleful it is if you leave the way of the truth and of fairness and the way of righteousness, conscientiousness, and of fairness, responsibility, and therefore the way of the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation. 19. Truly, you can commit evil and wreak calamity through your thoughts and feelings alone, but also through your desires, vices, wantonness, pathological cravings, drives, false hopes, and unachievable wishes, through your words and through your actions and deeds, therefore, however, also through omission of all good things in any wise. 20. Therefore, it is not the truth that you can nurture thoughts and feelings at a whim, without you having to make an account for it. Therefore, you should consider everything if villainous thoughts and feelings proceed from you, such as in relation to killing, murder, adultery, sexual decadence, sexual culpability, robbery and thieving, theft, waging battles, waging war, giving false testimony, sacrilege and slander, calumny, hatred, jealousy, revenge and retaliation, as well as stinginess and many other things of a wrong sense and negative value. 21. Through the pure truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power, you are recommended, to follow them as people of your kind, human beings, by voluntarily doing many good deeds and considering these as a duty. 22. Truly, you contravene the laws and recommendations of the primal power knowingly, consciously, and unknowingly, unconsciously. But consider that the decision, effect, of this is the same according to the law of cause and of decision. Effect equals cause, and effect equals law of causality. 23. If you heed yourselves inwardly, then you will be warned through your admonishment, conscience, against all inequitableness and against all unfairness, irresponsibility, as well as against all unrighteousness, so that you can then decide what you must do and what you must leave undone. 24. Know that the evil urge in you awakens desires for unfair, irresponsible, and unrighteous, conscienceless joys, pleasures, vices, and pathological cravings. Therefore, you must bring your penchant, talent, for reflecting and striving for evil under your assessment control. 25. Truly, you are tempted by the bad example of evil by those people of your kind, human beings, who go forth as unfair ones, irresponsible ones, in debauchery and in unrighteousness, consciencelessness, and who deceive you, make bad speeches, spread false writings by false prophets, pursue all licentious enjoyments, and commit infamous actions, crimes, deception, robbery, and thieving, theft, and hatred, jealousy, in pathological craving for revenge and pathological craving for retaliation, as well as in battles, wars, and in pathological craving for killing, murder, death penalty. 26. Truly, the unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and unrighteous ones, conscienceless ones, amongst you do not omit any attempt to draw you to their side and to ruin you, and they approach you without admonishment, conscience, in a variety of inconsiderate, irresponsible wises in order to deceive you. 27. Truly, all people of your kind, human beings, are exposed to temptations. But whoever does not allow all of his or her powers of the love for the truth to be tempted has unlimited might over himself or herself. Therefore no evil is able to harm him or her, because it can neither bark nor growl, and neither chase nor bite. 28. It is possible to withstand any temptation if you are sufficiently strong in your knowledge about the truth, And if you keep your powerful thoughts and feelings right from the start away from anything which is unreal concerning the truth, and therefore from any temptation. To achieve this, it is necessary to continue your own admonishment and watchfulness on a permanent basis, because only through this are you guaranteed that you will not fall prey to any temptation as an offering sacrifice. 29. Every temptation that you overcome gives you new power, benefits, and more delight in the truth, through which you place a crown permanence on yourselves which is constantly ready for you, and which you only need to grasp and put on yourselves. 30. And consider that if you fall prey to one temptation, then the next one will also follow. Therefore you shall avoid them and turn yourselves to the virtues, because as the virtue is a source of good deeds, so every evil penchant talent, and every vice is a source of the bad and unrighteous, conscienceless, as well as of the unfair, irresponsible, and of iniquity, unfairness. 31. You must vanquish the temptations and turn yourselves away from them from the beginning, and thereby withstand them by keeping your thoughts and feelings away from them. 32. Truly, if you always consider the truth in all things, then you will be called to watchfulness through your admonishment conscience against temptations. Therefore you must knowingly, consciously, keep watch that you do not fall into temptation. 33. Consider that there are very many and various types, forms, of temptation which befall you, such as arrogance, vanity, and avarice, stinginess, envy, immoderacy, immodesty, rage and indolence, hatred and jealousy, as well as the urge for bloody deeds, murder, defilement, crimes, thieving, theft, deception and battles, wars, as well as many more things besides. 34. Arrogant, vain, are those who connect themselves to overbearingness and are also conceited, presumptuous, and thereby take the honor from the truth and disdain people of their kind, fellow human beings. 35. Arrogance, vanity, is also haughtiness and pride, hubris, craving for recognition, imperiousness, from which also originate false zeal, ambition, and hypocrisy, as well as sanctimoniousness. But arrogance, vanity, can be overcome through being fair, being responsibility conscious, and righteousness, conscientiousness, in which case the love for the truth gives the power to achieve this. 36. And avarice, stinginess, as a great terrible thing of people of your kind, human beings, is if you cling avariciously to possessions and riches and thereby leave others to go hungry and starve, if you are pitiless towards the poor and needy who require the help of your possessions and riches, but from whom you withhold that portion which you would be able to give them, and through which they would not have to either go hungry or starve. 37. Avarice, stinginess, also includes lovelessness, theft, deception, and lying, as well as envy towards other people whose goods and chattels and riches are begrudged them. And truly, avarice, stinginess, can only be overcome through true love and love for the next one, which also contains generosity and joy. 38. Envy itself arises when the happiness and love, as well as the possessions, goods, and riches of people of your kind, fellow human beings, is begrudged them. And truly, not only resentment springs forth from envy, but also lovelessness, jealousy, and hatred, as however also revilement, slander, calumny, strife, unfairness, rightlessness, and prattle, gossip, mongering, and other terrible things. And envy can only be overcome through true love, generosity, benevolence, and fairness. 39. Truly, envy also includes the mocking malice, schadenfreude, through which joy in the unfortune or mischance of others is expressed, because of begrudging others their happiness, joy, love, and the happy fate, foreordination. 40. The mocking malice, schadenfreude, also carries defamation, slander, calumny, hatred, and enmity in itself, as well as evil, and the mocking malice, schadenfreude, can only be overcome by bringing true love to bear and granting fruitfulness, sufficiency, to benevolence, humanity, as well as feeling for others, and also casting off immoderacy, immodesty. 41. Immoderacy, immodesty, is expressed in various scopes, areas of the life, therefore within your own scope, personal area, as false satisfaction, egotistical satisfaction, and unsatisfaction, immoderateness, as well as externally towards people of your kind, human beings, as well in your thoughts, feelings, actions, and deeds, immodesty, urgently requires constant composure, control, contentment, whether with regard to eating and drinking, in the bearing behavior conduct, towards people of your kind, fellow human beings, or in your actions and activities. 42. Immoderacy is the source of pathological craving in the eating, gluttony, pathological craving in the drinking, alcoholism, and pathological craving to the drive, pathological craving for sex. However, also a pathological craving of any kind which is detrimental to well-being, health, and instability, infamous actions, crimes, and licentiousness of any stripe, kind, form. And truly, immodesty, uncontentment, can only be overcome through a useful regulation in the thoughts and feelings, and through truthfully moderation, modesty, contentment, as well as through one's own composure, restraint, and a directed, controlled regulation of the leading of the life conduct. 43. And rage originates in people of your kind, human beings, when you are unable to observe and consider, control your agitation and composure, restraint, and you allow yourselves to be carried away into indignation as well as passionateness and unbridledness, jealousy, resentment, and wildness. 44. Truly, rage gives rise to embitterment, enmity, hatred, strife, as well as pathological craving for revenge and urge for retaliation, and also to wounding, injury of the body, inner world, consciousness, and psyche of people of your kind, next one's fellow human beings. 45. Rage also leads to bloody deeds, killing, to battles, wars, and to infamous actions, crimes of all stripes, kinds, forms. Therefore also to coarseness and blindness towards other people of your kind, human beings, with your own parents, children, brothers and sisters, kith and kin, relatives, and even husband and wife not being excluded. However, rage can only be overcome through peaceableness, equanimity, composure, patience, and mildness. 46. Truly, however, there is also a venerable rage which moves in fairness and in composure, restraint, and serves to fight, strive, against unfairness, irresponsibility, and unrighteousness, consciencelessness, through gewaltlosigkeit, actions in logic and rationality, and to put a stop to them so that fairness, responsibility, and righteousness, conscientiousness, may come about. Gewaltlosigkeit is the way of passive, logical Gewalt, because Gewaltlosigkeit means, in other words, active Gewaltlosigkeit, in which Gewaltlosigkeit is practiced and implemented with Gewalt, i.e., actively. In Gewaltlosigkeit as active Gewaltlosigkeit, Gewaltlosigkeit is practiced and implemented with Gewalt, i.e., actively. However, Gewaltlosigkeit also means passive resistance, where passiveness in this sense means a power, i.e. a might, or simply passive Gewalt, because power, might, and Gewalt also in Gewaltless, passive form as resistance represent a form of Gewalt, which is however carried out in Gewaltlosigkeit. At the same time, however, this Gewaltless, i.e. passive Gewalt, must not be understood in the sense of the usual understanding that human beings of Earth have of negative Gewalt, but rather only in the sense of a positive, peace-bringing, harmonizing, balancing, buoyant, and regulation establishing effort in the form of a power, might, and influence, etc., offering passive resistance in a logical wise. 47. Indolence is a part of everyone amongst the people of your kind, human beings, who eschew and neglect work and effort and the tasks, duties of the life, of the leading of the life conduct, and for people of your kind, human beings, as well as for the appearance, nature, and all kinds of life forms, just as much as the tasks, duties, towards the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation. 48. And indolence brings forth recklessness, carelessness, negligence of tasks, neglect of duty, poorness through one's own blame, debauchery, slovenliness, sloppiness, idleness, laziness, and couragelessness. 49. And indolence is only overcome through activity, diligence, through courageous strength, through binding to the task, fulfillment of duty, taking joy in work and effort, as well as assiduousness, activity, watchfulness, prudence, and diligence, activity, assiduousness. 50. And as you rid yourselves of indolence, liberate yourselves also of many other terrible things through which you are hindered in your unfolding, evolution of the inner world, consciousness, and in your progress. in all things of your existence, life, such as in the consonance, harmony, of your psyche, in the achievement of true love, peace and freedom in yourselves and outside yourselves amongst all people of your kind, humankind. 51. Blatant badnesses and disgracefulnesses, ignominy, is the name given to those Ausartungen which you commit in malice and in response to which people of your kind, fellow human beings, cry for revenge and retaliation, such as slander, calumny, oppression of the poor, of orphans, and of the maimed, disabled, and also withholding the fair reward and lying and false oath, perjury against the truth, as well as defilement, sexual misuse of man, woman, and child, thieving, theft, deception, and robbery, and other things. 52. Blatant badnesses and disgracefulnesses, ignominy, are based in malicious resistance against the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, as well as against righteousness, conscientiousness, fairness, and against being fair, being responsible. 53. For as long as people of your kind, human beings, maliciously or overbearingly, presumptuously, arrogantly, resist against the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, and their guidelines, rules of regulation, and violate them, then you cannot find the way of the truthfully truth. Therefore, you cannot motivate, achieve any improvement in yourselves and cannot forgive yourselves. 54. And as you are not connected to the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, you live in presumptuousness against the truth and heap errors and blame upon yourselves, through which so many people of your kind, human beings, fall prey to despair. 55. You do not recognize the truth, rather you strive against it, which is why you also envy those who are righteous, conscientious, and fair, responsible, as well as connected to fairness. 56. Truly, there are many amongst you who are hard of hearing, obstinate, and do not listen to the admonishing words of the proclaimer, prophet, so that you continuously run towards your hardship, misfortune, and do not look for reconciliation, making good. Rather you persist in remorselessness. 57. And there are also externally bound errors and blame which arise when you make yourselves complicit in the errors and blame of others. If you advise others to commit errors which they then carry out, as well as if you command them or advise them to do evil, which they then do. 58. Truly, as the currents flow in the seas, so all of existence, life, flows into the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation. 59. And as everything of existence, life, flows into the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, so all virtues and the main virtue also flow in, which stands out as love amongst all. 60. Love as the main virtue also proceeds from the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, from which you as people of your kind, human beings, shall also bring about, create, true love in yourselves with all of your activity, energy, and your powers, so that you may love people of your kind, next one's fellow human beings, as yourselves. 61. Love is the main virtue and the main recommendation of the primal power, creation, and therefore love for your others, love for the next one, and for people of your kind, fellow human beings, is the second important virtue and the second important recommendation of the primal power, creation. 62. These two virtues and recommendations are included in all other virtues and recommendations of the primal power, creation. 63. And truly, in the creational recommendations of the love are also included all other recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, because love flows through all of them and all are led guided by love, just as it is given in the laws of the primal power, creation, whose activity, energy, and its powers is given solely in the love of the primal power of the life, creation. 64. The main recommendation is love, and included in this is the love for the truth of the primal power of the life, creation, love for the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, as well as love for your others, love for the next one, love for all kinds of life, life forms, love for the appearance, nature, love for the real truth, and love for the life. 65. And only those who are connected in true love to all these and to all other associated high values can also love themselves in dignity, moderation, modesty, as well as in righteousness, conscientiousness, and uprightness, honesty. 66. And truly, whoever loves the truthfully love also loves themselves and all others in the right wise. 67. You shall love the true love with all your powers, because it is endlessly given in all existence, life, and everything that is good proceeds from it alone. And in it alone can complete happiness be found, as well as true peace, true freedom, and consonance, harmony. 68. Everything that people of your kind, human beings, make and everything that may be good and beautiful for people of your kind, human beings, outside of true love, is as a minute speck of dust of a weight compared to the incomprehensibility, miraculousness, of the love of the primal power of the life, creation, and of its laws and recommendations. 69. And truly, the source, origin, of truthfully love which knows no limits, bounds, in its supremacy, gewaltigkeit, lies solely in the primal power of the life, creation. 70. Truthfully love is the source of all goodness and of all beauty, and all the goodness and beauty on your world and on all earths, worlds, planets, in all lights in the firmament, stars, nebulae, comets, etc., and in all firmaments, universe, is a beam of the eternal goodness and beauty of true love which is given in the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, and out of itself. 71. Only in true love can you, as people of your kind, human beings, find truthfully fulfillment of the life, fulfillment of your expectations, longings, and your wishes. 72. You can win, achieve, true love as people of your kind, human beings, if you recognize the truthfully, creational love and goodness from the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, and from the deeds of the primal power of the life, creation, and you make it your own. 73. If you want to make the creational love your own, it is necessary for you to live without blemish in your virtues, to take all the loads of efforts upon yourselves, and to bring all necessary gifts of love into existence, life. 74. And truly, whoever recognizes the truthfully love as it is given in the laws and recommendations through the primal power of the life, creation, can do nothing else but make this love their own. 75. But truly, only whoever is pure and without falseness in their inner world consciousness, and strives in uprightness, honesty, for the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, can find true love and let it grow in themselves. 76. And people of your kind, human beings, you are not allowed to believe in a god or several gods or 10 gods or demons and the like if you want to find the true love of the primal power, creation, in its laws and recommendations, because truthfully only the true knowledge about the truth can lead you to success. 77. The true secret of the life is truthfully love which proceeds from the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, and truly everything is only brought to blossom through this love. 78. You, people of your kind, human beings, can primarily show true love by mastering the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, and following them knowingly, consciously, and in good understanding. 79. Whoever amongst you masters the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, and follows them in good uprightness, honesty, and in dignity, you are truly connected to the truthfully love of the primal power of the life, creation, and inseparably connected to it. 80. And whoever masters and follows the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, evidences his or her truthfully love for all its deeds, therefore through his or her word, through his or her thoughts and feelings, through his or her feeling for others, as well as through his or her virtues, through his or her speaking and his or her moderation, modesty, as well as through his or her righteousness, conscientiousness, through his or her fair, responsible actions, and also through his or her peacefulness, liberality, and consonance, harmony. 81. True love is the first thing and the truthfully certain thing, absolute thing, of all, and brings together what has already been unified by the inner nature of the primal power of the life, creation. 82. Love is absolute certainty of oneself living together and breathing together, coexisting, with everything in everything, thus, in all reality, all that exists in the world of the animals and other creatures, fauna, and in the world of plants, flora, in people of your kind, fellow human beings, in every solid material and all eternal, spiritual kind of life form, irrespective of its kind, and in the existence of the entire firmament universe, and much more laws and recommendations. Equals love is absolute certainty of oneself living together and coexisting together with everything in everything, thus in all that exists, in fauna and flora, in fellow human beings, in every material and spiritual life form irrespective of its kind, and in the existence of the entire universe and much more laws and recommendations. 83. True love does not rule and cannot be ruled either. And truthfully, true life is true love, and therefore the life of the life is true love. 84. The true warmth of the deepness of the life, which finds itself, is the love in which people of your kind, human beings, and every life are reconciled with all things of the existence, life, and of destiny. 85. If you people of your kind, human beings, truly love one another, then you will yourselves recognize that there is no other truthfully way rising to the near and far people of your kind, next ones and fellow human beings, and to the truth and following of the truth. 86. Your near and far people of your kind, next ones and fellow human beings, are anyone, both friend and foe, and you shall be connected to them in love, because they are all, like you, from one branch, species, brought forth from the effects of the laws and recommendations in all-embracing love of the primal power of the life, creation. 87. The primal power of the life, creation, is the effectuating the creative might of people of your kind, human beings, on your world, on all earths, worlds, planets, in all firmaments, universe. And truly it is the effectuating creative power for people of your kind, human beings, whatever the color of their skin color, of any people and of all species, characteristics, races, and of all other kinds of life forms. 88. And truly, everything living which moves itself in a wise that is visible for you, and everything living in stillness, material, that moves in a wise that is not visible to you, comes forth from the effects of the powerful laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation. So you as people of your kind, human beings, have also proceeded from it and will return to it again one day. 89. You have proceeded from its idea and from its decision, and it has laid in you the continuous assiduousness, striving, for the unfolding evolution of the love and of your inner world consciousness, so that you may become knowing, conscious, and wise. 90. You shall love people of your kind, fellow human beings, as yourselves, and you shall wish them and do to them what you also wish and do for yourselves. 91. Therefore you shall also do to them everything of goodness that you expect from people of your kind, next one's fellow human beings. 92. Therefore you shall esteem and love people of your kind, next one's fellow human beings, and always give them a good example, as well as helping them in tribulation and misery, because truly whatever you do to people of your kind, next one's fellow human beings, you also do for yourselves. 93. Every person of your kind, human being, has good appearances, natural characteristics. Therefore learn to see their goodness in them and to value, esteem it. 94. And consider that a good example is of more use than many good words. Therefore you shall give many examples through deeds and works. Thus you shall be at all times a good example for people of your kind, fellow human beings, in good friendship, and never be bad companions, comrades, and therefore neither deceivers nor false advisers either. 95. The love for people of your kind, love for the next one, is shown both in corporeal, physical material, duties and in non-corporeal, consciousness-based, ideas which derive from the inner world, consciousness. Therefore you shall not love one another with lips, words, but in action and truth. 96. And consider that as manifold the misery of people of your kind, fellow human beings, is so manifold and varied shall your help also be in words, in deeds, in works, and in charitable givings, in alms, gifts, and in meeting any necessity. 97. If you undertake corporeal, physical, material duties, then these are to be done in food for the hungry, in giving drinks to the thirsty, in clothing the naked, in sheltering the wanderers, visitors, guests, in burying the dead, in visiting the sick, in doing good deeds, and in giving alms, gifts, in the dignified treatment of the unfree, chained, and in everything else that are corporeal. Physical material duties. 98. And non-corporeal consciousness-related deeds equals ideas that spring forth from the inner world consciousness are those if you in good and wise words set the doers of terrible things, lawbreakers. Right, if you guide, instruct those to the right who are committing errors. If you teach, instruct the ones having no knowledge of the truth and the real truth. If you advise the doubtful rightly. If you comfort the troubled. If you forgive your adversaries, slanderers, calumniators, and those who do evil to you, persecute you, and strive to end your life. If you think about people of your kind, human beings, in love, if you do not repay unright with unright, if you do everything rightfully which you are capable of doing in a good and fair, responsible, and righteous, conscientious, and non-corporeal consciousness-based, wise in all things. 99. And consider that duties of benevolence are particularly valuable, because love is kept in them, which is cared for according to the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation. And truly, whoever does no deeds in goodness and in benevolence is not truly alive, not connected to and knowing of the truth, in themselves and in their inner nature. 100. If true love is actively cared for, whether corporeally, physically, materially, or non-corporeally, in a consciousness-based wise, then it relieves all pain and difficulties, problems. But mere words only cause these to multiply if they are false and are pitiful instead of wise and with deep feelings for the others. 101. True love also includes your enemies and all those who are against you in any other wise, who do evil to you and cause you harm through slander, calumny, and lies. Therefore do good to those who hate you. Find good words for them and forgive them, so that you may speak well about their misdeeds on demand, if you are asked about them, but without you being stirred up by hatred in you, but remaining impartial, objective, neutral. 102. Forgive your culprits, those who are culpable to you, their culpabilities, because they load this upon themselves, since they are not knowing of the truth, and therefore do not know what they are doing. Therefore do not allow the lust for revenge to rise up in you, but rather consider that revenge is unright, and any unright is evil. Therefore there shall not be either revenge or retaliation in you, but love, cognition, comprehension of the truth and forgiveness. Therefore do not listen to the false teachings of the false prophets and the twisters of writings who lie that a God takes revenge and retaliation if unright is done. Because any God and tin God is only fabulated, invented by people of your kind, human beings, and of ineffectiveness, insignificance, as well as without the power to effectuate, create good or ill that would be supposed to befall you. 103. True love also includes the love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love, through which you care for yourselves in a regulated wise and create what your body and your inner world consciousness, as well as your psyche, need. And this love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love, is not the same as ego love, egoism, which is as a vice, pathological craving, self-addiction, addicted in mercilessness, ruthlessness, to its own desires, urges, drives, penchants. The first care of self-love shall be for the unfolding evolution of the inner world consciousness, the world of thoughts and feelings and of the psyche, as well as the virtues. And if you follow this form of the love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love, then you are following fairness as well as responsibility and righteousness, conscientiousness. 104. The body also requires looking after and care. So with regard to its well-being, health, beauty, cleanliness, hygiene, and bodily strength, and also these are directed, maintained through the love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love. 105. The good and valuable forthbringings, creations, products of the inner world consciousness, such as education, knowledge, wisdom, ability, capabilities, talents, skills, being well-versed, the admonishment, conscience, the memory, remembering, as well as good character, belong to the most valuable things of the love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love. 106. The true reward for the high values that proceed from the love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love, is true love and exhaustive kind-heartedness and dignity, as well as taking care for your own life. Therefore, self-love truly does not stand in sonority, harmony, with the dissonance, disharmony, of ego love, egoism. 107. The true love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love, is true wisdom for your own life conduct in peace, freedom, and consonance, harmony, with yourselves as people of your kind, human beings. And if the love for yourselves as people of your kind, self-love, is lived in purity within the bounds, frame, of the laws and recommendations of the primal power of the life, creation, then the true love of all extent, love for all and in all, will also become the crown of the life.